We are in week 2 of the Sermon on the Mount. Actually, it might be a little further than that. Maybe this is week 3 of hearing the Sermon on the Mount. And we missed the first day of it with the Beatitudes and jumped right into the heart of the matter, the difficult words of the Sermon on the Mount. We get lessons on anger and Jesus raising the bar about what it means to be a follower of Jesus. You know, you have heard it said, "You shall not murder," but I say whoever grows angry will be liable to judgment. And so we get this higher standard of living that's contextualized in the beauty of the Beatitudes, except we missed that because of the feast of Our Lady, Mary, Mother of the Church, that first day after Pentecost. And then all through this week, we'll hear all kinds of other lessons. Today, a lesson about judgment. Last week, all kinds of lessons about perfection. In the middle of it last week, though, and this is just my chance to catch up since I wasn't with you last week, in the heart of last week, we heard teachings on prayer. One, the day about prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, the gospel that we hear on Ash Wednesday about fasting and not being gloomy like the hypocrites, and praying in private, fasting and giving alms in secret. But then the next day was really kind of the heart. In the very center of the Sermon on the Mount, which is Matthew chapters 5, 6, and 7, the very heart of it is the Lord's Prayer. And so as Jesus is raising the bar and setting this high standard for perfection, in the middle of all of that, we get this little bit of a pause, almost as though the people can respond, because Jesus gives us the words of prayer. And hearing all of these difficult and challenging things today about not judging, and about how it is that we act hypocritically when we take the insignificant little imperfections in each other and try to judge each other as a way of deflecting our own faults. It's really what this whole thing about the speck and the plank, in elegant translation, about the splinter and the wooden beam. But it's, I have my own faults that are pretty significant, but I tend to deflect them and distract from them by pointing out somebody else's much smaller flaw. That's the lesson on judgment. So in the middle of all of these difficult, hard lessons, right at the heart of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus teaches us to ask for what we need. To say, "Lord, for your will to be done, give me what I need. Help me. Make up for what's lacking in me." That's what "Give us this day our daily bread" is all about. And then we ask for forgiveness. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So in the heart of all of these really difficult and challenging lessons and challenges of the gospel, at the heart of that is simply our giving ourselves over and seeking divine help. That's the great good news. And everything else we hear from Jesus, not that it softens any of this, because it doesn't exempt us from striving for that high standard. But in the middle of it, we have the recognition that the only way that happens is as we open ourselves to the grace of God. Give us this day, Lord, what we need. Be with us and make up for what we cannot accomplish on our own. Because everything we do for the sake of the gospel comes from the very gift of Jesus' presence. Let's be thankful and mindful of the way that those two have to go hand in hand. Because if they don't, we're bound to fail.